right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Dave Leduc. I feel like there's only one way to introduce you, and it's like that. Like that. I've been learning a lot. I've been learning a lot in the last 2 weeks, mate. Cross, hook, grab, head in,
Yes.
tuck your chin and force up, whip your head. Mate.
We need to get you signed up for a fight, man.
Jeez. Look, Dave, what's hilarious is we met because you walked past and said you want to spar me potentially. And
I don't remember that. I don't. Can you refresh my memory on what?
Yeah, so it was a Tiger Muay Thai. I finished the session, sparred one guy who wanted to, because they used to open up there was lots of more space back.
You know what year it was?
Man, we're probably talking like, in the back of my mind, I think like 2016.
Okay.
But I have enough photos there to remind me. Maybe when I tell you the rest.
I feel like it's earlier, like 2014, but
that's maybe me. Because I tell you what, this is what I found so interesting about your story, is you were in a very different place when I'd met you. You were like, you weren't very happy. You were kind of trying to work things out. I think something had happened with the ex-girlfriend or something like that.
That was definitely 2014 then. Yeah.
And that was what was so incredible to see you just change and like grow and find this world of your own and then conquer this world of your own. And as soon as I saw you on Joe Rogan, I was like, God damn it. Not only is this guy like, he's in that world, man. He's in that world where, he's seen as expert in his field. And I thought that was such an incredible change of events for you. So this is kind of a lot of what I want to talk about here is when we met then, now that we've established that timeline, what was going on? What was going on back then?
Well, I wasn't, that's a very good question, man. You reminded me, I was in a relationship that wasn't good for me. I wasn't fulfilling my dreams. I wasn't where I wanted to be. And actually, I remember now that I wanted to stay in Asia and just go crazy and pursue my dream of being a professional fighter. But I had some kind of a life back home in Canada, so I had to go back. But I did the prison fight just before leaving.
Yes.
So I did that fight, yeah.
No.
But I was at least I got this in just before going back to Canada, and I touched to the first time my first front page newspapers and interviews. That was cool, but I knew that I wanted more, so I came back to Canada and then helped my coach opening schools and stuff like that. But I knew that it was just a matter of time before I go back to Asia again. And to be fair, just people that don't know, some people think that I was Muay Thai. I was doing Muay Thai, and I happened to just go across to Myanmar. No, my goal was always to go to Myanmar. I just never spoke about it too much. And in the early days when I was 18, 17 years old, my coach showed me an old magazine of Burmese boxing. It was like a black belt magazine, and it was Lethwei and stuff like that. And then I went on YouTube and I saw these guys fighting, and no gloves, headbutts. For people that don't know, it's the art of 9. So you can do headbutts, you can do elbows, punches, kicks, knees, takedowns, suplexes, and it's KO only to win. So it was fucking cool. And me being like a black sheep, I'm like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to be different. I want to be on a different path than everybody else. Similar to you, right? You're one of the. And I remember, when we met, I liked that you were in a different path. I never met, stuntmen that were exceeding at a high level like you. So that was fucking cool. So I think we clicked on that. But basically, I forgot where I was going, but I wanted more. And I went to Asia because it was just easier. Thailand was just easier. I had friends there. Tiger Muay Thai gave me an opportunity to be on the sponsored fight team. There was a lot of other high level guys, and it was good to spar, but it was just it just happened that way. And it was hard to get visas in Myanmar and Burma. It was hard to get visa with it was military, and it just recently opened democratically. So yeah, we'll get to that later. But basically, I got a call to go to Myanmar, and I took it.
Now, am I right in thinking that you can only do that Lethwei fighting in Myanmar? Is that right?
There's a few other countries. No, there's 7 countries that have hosted Lethwei so far. So we had Singapore, Thailand, Taiwan. It's very big in Tokyo, in Japan, and there's been a super fight in Slovakia as well, like a part of a MMA show. So that was yeah. So there's actually Slovakia twice, yeah. Bratislava, the capital.
Yeah. Now, actually, strangely enough, when we were in Thailand that time I met you, I met a girl from Slovakia. So I ended up I used to go into Bratislava like
Get out.
a couple of times
it's a nice
a year.
country,
Yeah. Man, it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I like their food. But were you getting to fight Lethwei in Thailand then? Like, was there enough people for you to fight to keep up the skills, or did you just fight Muay Thai to kind of stay?
No, I never. I was just. That's a good question. I never fought Lethwei before going to Lethwei. Similar to I never fought Muay Thai before fighting my first Muay Thai fights. When I was in Canada, I was doing some exhibition fights, like MMA fights, and I actually went into amateur MMA, and I was fighting in also like a Sanda, which is a Chinese martial art. So that's my original background, like striking wise, and Sambo for grappling, and then. I went undefeated in MMA, and then I went too fast into MMA, in professional MMA, because nobody wanted to fight a certain guy. I said, you know what, fuck it, let's do it. But I was quite young and inexperienced, and then I got the call to go to Asia, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just go. My friends were at Thai Muay Thai, so it was just easy. For sparring, like training was amazing. I could actually focus on my training very well. I won the tryouts the same year with Dan Hooker, who's in the UFC right now. A couple of the boys.
He fought last weekend.
Yeah, he's a great guy. And then Alex Rosnowski's fighting also this weekend. We're all like, Peter Yan also was there. Yeah. We had like a great couple of years. Brad Riddell, Israel came a couple of times. We had a great year, and I had a lot of not buddies but bodies to train. I was able to train with a lot of people, which is actually still hard in Myanmar. Myanmar is very very underdeveloped training wise for like foreigners to come. Gyms are like on fucking on dirt. It's very hard to train. It's very raw and it's amazing, but it was just easier for me to train there. I was to be perfectly fair, like I love these years, but training wise in the fight team, I was never taught new things. Like I had to like auto learn stuff myself. It was great for pad holding and running and cardio. Like I was in an excellent shape, but thank God I was still keeping in touch with my coach, and he was telling me stuff to train with the guys in sparring. But I didn't like I was not like learning stuff. So, but my goal was, when I went to prison fight afterwards, I called back the promoter years after, and I'm like, man, because I wanted money, and I just met my Moldovan, my wife, she's from Russia, and I was like, she wanted nice things, and like, the Western Europe style, they and I don't blame them. They want nice stuff. So, fuck, at the time in Muay Thai, I was gaining experience in the ring. But $200 a fight, 100 pounds a fight. It was disgusting. You can't make a living with this. And I was able to survive alone. But when I met my wife, there was no way. I got in debt very fast, thousands of dollars in my line of credit. Thank you. Thanks to the bank for allowing me to have a line of credit, because it would have been a different life otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah. And basically, I remember calling the promoter again from prison fight, and he said, I said, man, I want to get a fight. He said, well, Dave, I'm not promoting Muay Thai anymore. I said, what do you mean? So, well, I'm promoting Lethwei now. I was like, fuck, are you serious? That's my dream from day one. Like, and it just came back right at me again, and the rest is history.
Man, wow, and it's been a pretty short journey, right? In terms of actual time, I'm sure it's felt a lot longer, but it's pretty incredible, like the transition that's happened. Before we go too far, because I remember telling people, recounting the story of your prison fight, and people saying, no way. So can you tell us a little bit more about that prison fight? And that was a Muay Thai fight, right?
Yeah, that was a Muay Thai fight. So people, I don't think they know all the details of this. I was on the last show in 2014. They didn't do one since, and I'm happy I was on that one because it was fucking badass. It was on the maximum security prison, a bit outside of Bangkok. And foreigners were like fighting inmates that were previously experienced Muay Thai fighters, or but that did some mistakes, like to get a quick buck or something. Some guy was a high-level Muay Thai fighter at Lumpini, but stabbed the guy that was hitting on his girlfriend in the neck with a butter knife. And he went to prison for that. The guy that I fought was there for many years for meth trafficking, methamphetamine. So basically, I saw while I was training and when I was in Thailand, I saw a Vice documentary on this. I'm like, fuck, that's cool. It got viral, right? I said, I want to do this, but how the hell am I going to get in contact with this? It seems so hard. And then I found the email by a contact. I found this Russian guy that's running this prison fight show in partnership with the correctional department of Thailand. So they're partnered with the prison department, and they're hosting events inside the courtyard, and they're getting those fighters that are willing to go fight there. I actually I fought there for free. So I actually paid my flight from Phuket to Bangkok. I had no money at the time. I paid my flight, I paid my hotel, I paid my Turkish friend to come as well, just to show you, like, I had a vision. Like, I knew that this was gonna, sometimes you have to do sacrifices. If you're a private trainer, maybe you have to train a few guys for free in order to get, if you want to, I don't know if it works like that in stunts, but maybe, there's always sacrifices in order to get higher, and that was one of those. I had to accept this fight, but I actually paid to go fight there. I didn't at first. I never said that to anyone because I was too proud. Like, no, I got a couple $1,000, but no. Now I can say it because I changed. My life is different now. But yeah, that was intense. So we go inside the courtyard. We see this fucking 1,000 prisoners looking at you like they want to stab you, and they want to fucking slit your throat.
Are they behind Are they behind fences or something, or they're out?
No,
they just out in the courtyard, like a schoolyard.
They were free as can be. And they're all in blue. I remember like it's yesterday. They're all in blue in a courtyard, free. A few guards, not that many. They just took my cell phone. They took everything I had. They patted me down, and then, okay, go into prison. And I go inside, and I'm like, okay, well, we might have to. I don't know. We might have to fight. And we go get the gloves on. We go get these things. The fight happens. Me and one Iranian guy win our fight. Out of 10 fights, only 2 of us win. The rest they lose on points, and some get knocked out. So the prisoners were quite fucking good. They were really, the name of the event was Fight for Freedom. They were fucking fighting for real, for their own freedoms. So there was a big incentive for them. And to be fast forward a couple of years, actually they did a Showtime documentary on this, on Showtime in the United States. And one prisoner fought an American, and he actually won his freedom because of this program.
So is that how it works? So you win that fight? Because that's the part I thought maybe I'd misremembered, because I thought that sounds mental. I feel like I was just reciting, like, Undisputed. Yeah, I was like, maybe I'm just thinking of the plot of Sean Atkins' movie. And I was like, no, that is. So they did. If they win, they get their freedom. Is that how it works? So they win
get
a certain amount?
Sentence reduction. First, they get sentence reduction. And over time, if they win enough, and they have, again, it's a rehabilitation program. So if they have enough fights won, and they have a good
track record,
they don't do drugs, so they will get it. Yeah, and
so it gets that incentive package for them. Yeah,
and they do get a better life in prison as well. So they get to train, they get like a better cells, stuff like that. So my goal, that's something also I never said to anyone. And I'm in discussion right now with them, because I have obviously a great relationship in Myanmar, great connections now. I want to bring this in Myanmar. Prison fight Lethwei. That would be amazing. Fucking crazy. So it's always been in Muay Thai. To bring Burmese prisons.
Mate, that sounds
Imagine that.
It's just such a cool idea of, just in general, like you say, of taking the sport that's national to them anyway, but of course incentivizing. Prisons are a bit funny. I don't think we've quite decided whether prisons are to lock people away forever or to rehabilitate them. And we do a bad job of both now.
That's the goal, right? That's the problem in prison. That's the problem in America, right? They don't care about rehabilitation. So to be fair, it's very shocking for me and you. I'm in Canada, you're in the UK. It's quite like, prisons it's a bit rough, and should we do that? Well, it's a different culture, and it's hard to judge. it's hard to judge. There's good things that come out of it, because they are a lot of, with that program, there are a lot of guys that are quitting drugs, quitting, fighting, hurting each other. So we could probably make a case that it's positive.
I think it is. Shout out to Tanya Brown. She's a yoga teacher here that actually teaches at a maximum security prison in the UK. She teaches yoga. But the whole idea is, like, like I said, what are we doing here? We're just going to lock people away and hope for the best. And when they get out, think that they're going to be better. Like, you have to give them options. So
yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah,
but
it is very controversial. It is.
Yeah. And I want to go back even further, because I never knew this about you, Dave. Funny enough, I was thinking about you too, because I was watching Bloodsport the other day. He says, Frank Dukes, he says, oh, like, put up your Dukes.
Van Damme? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Such a movie. And it was like the first time we'd got this eye into that sport, right? Which then is now UFC. But back then it was like, it was really cool. You had all these like really rich characters that you love to see and watch, but in quite an entertaining way. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to get back a hold of Dave Leduc after all of this. What was your inspirations growing up? Like, you're Canadian, so I'm imagining GSP must have played a role.
It's a good question. I'm a bit different in this kind of department. I'm a big believer. I never wanted to have idols. I never believed in that, and that's maybe very foreign to some people. But I believe that, because I was always asked that question. Who do you like? Who do you want to be when you're like? I said nobody. I want to be the first Dave. Like I want to be myself, because I feel like. I never understood, like in the singers, when you get like people are screaming like crazy. Like, first of all, I always said to myself, well, he goes to the toilet too. He does, he has diarrhea sometimes. Like, everybody's human. Nobody deserves to be put on a pedestal. That's my belief. And I never, I can say, I was inspired by some guys. I can say that, but idolizing somebody, I felt it was very wrong, and very because not only are you putting somebody on higher ground, but I felt like I would diminish myself by doing that. I would be like, well, he's so much better than me, so much more. Like, I'm just a normal kid from Canada. All the odds were against you as well. Becoming a A-list stuntman, like and all these things. Like, it's very foreign to me to be. I never understood that. So, to be fair, I was a baseball player all my childhood, and I was a pitcher, man. I was played high level baseball until 17, 18, and then I got kicked out of the family house. I didn't get along with my dad, and that's when I started martial art. I didn't have time to like, I like this fighter. Like, first of all, UFC, I think, was just starting. It was quite. But I guess I all had that. I feel like you need, again, I'm just saying, I'm talking for myself, but I feel like if you want to be like champion, and if you want to be like, great at something, you have to like think you're the best. You have to think yourself like you're the shit. Otherwise, if you don't think you're the shit, nobody will. If you like, by that, if you don't think like, you're the best guy ever, well, it's going to be hard to achieve that rank. So I had always great confidence in my ability. If not, I was working hard to be yourself. So I can say, it's hard to say, because I have a mental blockage in my head. Like, I don't want to give anything. I can say I enjoyed all the advice of my coach. My martial art coach was really pivotal in forging the fighter that I am. To be fair, it was a mental journey alone, because when my dad kicked me out, my family kicked me out, and by the way, I have a great relationship with them right now. This was the pivotal moment, like the pain and the anger of getting kicked out of the family house. It was a personal struggle. I didn't even think about anybody else. I didn't even think, oh, Bruce Lee is great, or Van Damme was doing the split, oh, that's great, or GSP, or I didn't care about anybody else. I was like, fuck the world. I'm gonna show them that I'm fucking strong. I was always told that I'm skinny by my doctors. Oh, you should eat more. Like, fuck you. I'm able to fight even if I'm a different type of body. People think that I need to be a bodybuilder to be strong. No.
Yeah.
You know that.
I think we've seen this enough times over. We've seen the Gracies take on bodybuilders. Like there was a time where YouTube was like at its height, where you were seeing crazy stuff like that. You know, I was just actually watching. Is his name Rick Rufus, the kickboxer? The first time he fought a Muay Thai guy, and he was a fantastic kickboxer. So he's throwing like jumping roundhouse kicks and spinning back hooks, and he's nailing this Muay Thai guy. Like the first time these two worlds have clashed, but the Muay Thai guy is smashing his leg, his lead leg. Okay, and Rick Rufus hasn't ever seen this before. So he's hitting him a few times, and he's like, and he's still leading the way. Come to third, fourth round, you see Rick Rufus is like, he can't walk, you know, and it's that time of going, oh, there's a whole nother thing going on here. These guys have a style that we were blindsided by. And it made me think, that's almost how I feel you with the headbutts. It's that thing that
not only that, Doug, that's a great point. That's a very good point, because now he was able to do that to the Rufus, I believe, because, you know, you're not as afraid. When you're kicking the leg, you can get punched in the face. But if you take one to give one, you take the punch in the face to get a low kick, which you can't really do in Lethwei, because that's why, like, if somebody kicks me in Lethwei, I'm gonna jab and cross right away, and I'm gonna draw some blood. I'm gonna cut. If you do that for 10 times, well, your face is gonna be way worse than my leg. You understand what I'm saying? So that's even a different mindset.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned this. Is it Tutu? Is that the guy's name? Tun?
Two guys. There's Tutu and Tutu Min, that two Burmese fighters.
You fought one of the guys who was he kept trying to trip you up when you were front kicking, and there was this like battle between him trying to get that leg, you kind of leaving it there for him to take so that you could drop an elbow or the punch. It was so interesting to watch, because he was getting the leg.
That was my first fight. That was my second Lethwei fight ever, man. And he
amazing.
had over 70 fights, so it was a very hard time for me to adapt. I had to adapt fast, otherwise I would die. And that's the fight. He was dominating the first rounds. I was kicking his belly,
his chest,
and he was catching it and tripping my leg.
Yeah.
But I adapted
with that spinning elbow, which got him a few times. But it's so interesting to watch that change, that like mold of going like, okay, you see the chest kind of unfolding. You're like, okay, he's coming here. He actually, the moment I knew you were a proper fighter is he trips you up against the ropes, and you start smiling, because you're like, you kind of like, you land, you're like, yeah, all right. And I was like, oh damn, he's not like panicking.
And to be fair, looking back, Doug, to be fair, that's exactly the moment. That's different reaction, right? Some people will not react like that, but I was laughing because he severed my leg, severed my ligament. Actually, I was in massive pain, and I was like, I was like, actually after the fight, I had to go do some work on my back of my leg, because the muscle was completely damaged. It was bad, and I had I had to do like stuff, but I had to do rehab on the leg. But just to show you, like, I knew I was in pain, but like I was laughing, like, you're not gonna get me. And I guess it's part of my traumas, like my childhood traumas. Like, I enjoy kind of pain, I guess, and you have to,
Well, this is what you were saying quite often about when it comes to Lethwei, is once we get into those pain threshold areas, now it changes that. I once heard someone say bad cardio makes a coward out of a man. Wow. And I kind of feel like this is going to be the same thing with this pain threshold. When you start getting into headbutts and bare knuckles, it's different, right? It's like this. Yeah. It ups the ante, and maybe you can weather the first few storms like Rick Rufus did. But when you get into these other moments where you're getting headbutted, you're like, oh man, what is this about? This is a whole other level. And like you said, if you're not into that, it's not going to work.
True. And it's true, because there's a lot of guys that in Muay Thai, they cross over to Myanmar and they do well for the first few rounds, and then like Thais against Burmese, and then after a while, they in the clinch they get the headbutts, and they start. It really surprises them. Most of the time, the best they can do in history was a draw, because it's KO only to win, so they survive the 5 rounds, or they lose. So it was it's a different pain threshold. When you get punched in the face with no gloves, it's very different.
Do you think there's a respect amongst you Lethwei fighters that's even greater because of that? Because you're in this battle that's like, it's not for everyone. It's even smaller percentage than people that normally want to fight something like Muay Thai. Because I noticed there's that like that real mutual respect after every fight. Like you guys are smashing the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
It comes to the end, and there's this kind of like relief in a way, I guess. You know?
Yeah. You're happy it's over, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. There's I mean, I have some differences with one of my. I mean, Tuntumin is we had a trilogy fight. We had 3 fights together, so we have some kind of a feud going on. But to be fair, like there's a brotherhood. Like there in Burmese people describe it as a brotherhood in the Lethwei fighters. Like they're all brothers, and even if they fought, they're still friends, and they even eat together and stuff like that. So for me, it's quite hard because I take fighting like a do or die. Like I really feel like he's trying to hurt me, and I it's hard for me to go into that friendship after the fight. But I can say that I have developed some friendship with a bunch of my opponents.
Was there much resistance to you being a foreigner doing it? I assume there's not that many foreigners doing this. Do they see it as, for lack of a better term, because I don't like this term much, cultural appropriation? Is there that feeling at all in Myanmar?
So at first it was quite. I mean, it didn't last too long though. When I fought my first Lethwei fight against the 75 kg champ. So I dominated the fight. It ended as in a draw because it was KO to win, and but I dominated the fight, and then they started throwing some bottles a little bit. Like after the fight, it was like I saw some stuff thrown on the ring. I was like, why? Because I know Burmese people are extremely kind, extremely polite, and humble people, and it's like incredibly kind. So for me, it was a surprise. They take Lethwei at a whole new level. Like it's like a religion for them and their national sport. So but after I started posting online like I love your cultures. Thank you so much. I started some words. They quickly changed and they're like, you know what? Thank you so much. They were really happy that a foreigner is interested in their culture. But actually, you know what? When I won the belt, the golden belt, the hate. Yeah, I would say the hate. The hate was not coming from the fans. The fans were extremely happy because I didn't just take the belt and go back to Canada or I actually like felt like I was adopted by them. So they really they really give me a lot of love. The hate was coming from the Burmese fighters, my potential opponents, and they were like, the champ should be Burmese. You shouldn't be the band. Like it's not, you shouldn't be so. And so that was the only thing was like my opponents a little bit. So again, it's hard to pinpoint because they're supposed to be a brotherhood, but then they were hating on me for this. But no, the fans, like I've built an amazing fan base, and I call them my Lethwei army. It's at first it started like all Burmese people because there are 55 million people. It's a big country, right? But now it's all over the world, and I cannot be more happy. Like it's been a blessing for sure.
Is it something you want to see grow as a sport? Is it something you're passionate about getting into a lot of different places? I see you doing some stuff like Baz Rutten obviously is on board immediately.
He loves it.
Like, yeah, you were speaking his language. I remember his videos of like, what's over here? Looky, wow. And you're like, this is going to speak to a guy like this. Is it something, is there any in Canada, for instance?
So my mentality about this is it doesn't need to be legal everywhere. Like Muay Thai and MMA just got legalized in France, for example, which is a first world country. So MMA was illegal until very recently, until this year. My point is, as long as people are able to train, they can't do nothing. You can train it everywhere, right? You're not assaulting anybody with punching and headbutting. As long as you train it. They will be able to fight it everywhere. There's going to be Japan. There's the WLC, which I'm signed with now. In Cambodia, and they're going to do an event in US. I'll be headlining it. So I'm very, very positive about this. Yeah, the guys like Bass. I was on a tour. I did a world tour. I did 2 world tours so far. We did like 30 countries, and everywhere the response has been fucking insane. I don't want to brag, but everywhere I go, they say, "Oh, that's the best seminar we ever had," because it's different and it's very raw. There's no, I didn't.
And the application, I was just going to say, application for real life. You're like, why wouldn't you use? It feels like to me because Krav Maga promised this, but it didn't. I don't feel like it quite delivered as technically.
I did a lot of seminars. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. a lot of my seminars were done in Krav Maga schools, to be honest. In Chicago, I did a
Yeah.
Krav Maga school in Indianapolis. They love it there because it feels like they can actually put it into practice
Yeah.
what they learned, because they do headbutts in Krav Maga, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
fight without, they train without gloves and stuff. So yeah, good point. And basically, when I did on the tour, I stopped in San Diego. I met with Kung Lee, and Kung loves it too. Bash Rutan in LA. Frank Shamrock recently messaged me. He wants to do movies, and Bass also wants to go to Myanmar and do some Lethwei shows there. So the love for the sport is like on fire right now, and it's amazing because it's a very old sport, like a 2,000-year-old sport, and I'm very proud to be like part of the revival of this. And I cannot, and I feel like I have to give back to the country that changed my life, my family's life. And so yeah, it's like the least I can do is try to, because in my interviews I always say, the more people are interested in Lethwei, the more people train Lethwei, the more people are going to come to Myanmar to train, and the more it's going to help the hotels, the restaurants, the economy. So the Lethwei is increasingly tied with the economy of the country, which, who would have thought that the sport would help the economy? And that's my mentality. So yeah, good question. I want to do I'm doing an affiliated program right now, and I have a school in Austin, Texas, a school in LA, a school in Manhattan in New York, and one in Iceland. So I'm just testing the waters right now to do like affiliated schools, and when I'm going to be happy with the process, I'm going to roll it out to the world, and we'll have Leduc Lethwei schools around the world. So
that's so cool, man.
That's going to be,
that's very cool.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I totally get you with the currency and the economy, rather, of the country. Because you look at someone like when we went to Muay Thai, like that place is, that area, so Taid, is pumping for that reason, because the knock-on effect, there's like all the things that come with it. People need to eat a lot more, and these Westerners don't want to eat. They don't mind paying $5 for a huge curry. It's no big deal, but currency-wise, the change is much bigger. So you can see how it does uplift. And of course, the trainers, you now employ a job market now that is so much better.
It's going to change the world. It's going to change the country. Exactly. Accommodation is going to need to be small lodges. You're right. And that's what I'm aiming for. I'm doing a retreat this year. I'm sold out. I'm doing
I'm going
to train
retreat.
I have me and one of my 2 other trainers. We're going to bring them to Napoli Beach, and it's going to be like a beautiful beach workout in Myanmar. So like a week in Myanmar training. So people from all over the world, man. I have Australia, Iceland, UK, America.
This is too cool.
It's gonna be badass.
Denmark. How did I miss out on this? Sounds like this is my kind of holiday, man.
I can maybe squeeze you in. I can squeeze you. We can talk after the podcast.
Yeah, please, man. That sounds like
it's gonna change the world.
I want to go check out too. Like you say, Myanmar, previously Burma, had its borders closed for a long time to foreign people. So I'm sure they're hungry to bring people in. So I'm sure they're
so kind. Like, you've been to Asia. I've been to Asia. Like, we've been a lot of places. And to be fair, man, like I'm not even joking. I've been to a lot of Asian countries, and they're the kindest people that I ever met. Probably because they're untouched. They don't have a lot of tourism, but I still hope it's gonna remain the same even as tourism grows. But oh man, like they're so polite, so kind, and like randomly, I guess anecdotes, like I lost my sandal, and guys just like went out of their day for like an hour try to help me find some place where I can buy a sandal. They just stuff like that is just so cool. And you're gonna love it when you come. It's only an hour flight from Bangkok, so it's like there's no excuses.
It's easy. So also, Dave, I will say this. I mean, are they kind because they're kind people, or are they kind because they just saw you headbutt every main fighter that they've ever known? When you come asking for your sandals, they're like, all right, I'm in now. I'm in deep. I've just seen this guy smash someone up. So
good question. No, they're actually deeply like inside kind. It's part of their culture. They're extremely like polite and very shy people, and which I kind of relate to that. Not kind a lot, because my life is to be as kind as I can. My mentality is to be as kind as I can outside of the, like, in the world, because I feel like the only thing that's going to change the world is love. I don't want to. So I just want to be kind, but I do enjoy that primal instinct of mine as a man to fight inside the ring, and they do the same. So And when I saw that, because it's lacking in my home country in Canada, there's not a lot of people that actually like, like have that eager to provide for their family, to fight and to be able to, defend yourself. When I went there, I'm like, wow, they're so kind, like I thrive to be. But then when they go in the ring, they actually are the inventors of the most brutal sport in the world. Like, fuck, that's cool. Like that's a big contrast. And I'm an extremist. I think we're both extremists. I don't want to. And that for me, that's the biggest extreme possible. You're kind, but then you headbutt with no gloves. Like that's a big extreme.
Well, that's really interesting. It ends up being, I always feel like in the same with Thailand, it ends up being that pressure valve release, right? So a little bit like in America, the argument for people carrying guns is that if everyone carries guns, no one messes around. The same kind of idea. Like when you have people that have this ability to do these violent things, they kind of get it out of the system in a controlled area instead of just getting into them and overspilling into menial things like traffic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think it's no coincidence that those two things happen. It's no coincidence that these violent things, these people are very nice, because that's what I always remember seeing those Thai guys and thinking it's so crazy that they're kind of sleeping in between, like training you, like so relaxed, and then like even in their fighting style, they and then relax. I was like, this juxtaposition is even in their fighting style, know. So I think that's interesting.
The land, like for me, the land of smile is actually Myanmar. They said that the land of smile is Thailand, but like with all the tourism, if somebody's been to PP Island, it's not that anymore. Like they're actually kind of annoyed with people like, drinking and puking on and having sex on the beach. Like they're kind of like, they don't really care about, they want the money now. And they don't really, of course there's beautiful places, but like Myanmar, everywhere is like that. They're just really happy about you. So I'm very happy and proud to be with them. But just to go back, because we love the fighting part as well. If you look at the history of the Burmese Empire and the Siam, and because Siam was before it was Thailand. Like Chiang Mai and Ayutthaya, the whole capital, the whole Siam capital was actually Burmese owned. They looted and they completely destroyed the Ayutthaya. And the old Siam capital, and but just I don't want to go into details, which came first and everything. But basically, if you look at the history in Myanmar, the guys were they were always doing no gloves, headbutts. In Thailand, they had a thing called Moibaran. Again, a lot of things point out that Moibaran was inspired by Lethwei because Thailand was attacked by the Burmese. So let's just say that, okay, at one point they had Lethwei, at one point there was Moibaran at the same similar times. Thailand basically did a thing and they took Moibaran and they wanted to make it a sport. So they removed the headbutts out of Moibaran. Moibaran had ropes. They said, we're going to put gloves. And they added an intricate scoring system with obviously no headbutts, no suplex, no like all the elbows to the back of the head, like all the stuff that makes Lethwei cool to me. But anyway, they did this, and then if you look at the mentality of the fighters, they're like, okay, so my punches don't count for much. So why would I learn my boxing? Because they're not the best boxers, right? That's why a lot of white people, a lot of foreigners outbox the Thais.
Tear them up,
but they chop their legs, right? They chop the legs. They have amazing kicks. So over time, they develop an amazing kick, but not the best hands. So, but in Myanmar, the culture never changed. They always, Lethwei is Lethwei, and we're not touching it. Like, okay, it used to be 20 rounds. Now it's it went to 10 rounds, and it went to 5 rounds. That round aspect changed, but like it was always with headbutts. It was always very brutal, and the guys are like, why would I kick if when I kick I can get punched in the face, I can get cut in the face? Why would I just not get the best hand that I can because I have no protection on my hand? I can just cut him up and win with punches and elbows and headbutts. So over time, they develop amazing hands and an amazing pain threshold, but they don't kick. I don't even kick that much in Lethwei because I know that before I can chop his leg, like, we talk about the Rufus fight, before I can hurt his leg, how many punch I can get in the face, and how many, and even at the end, he can switch stance and I have to redo it all over again. Mm-hmm. So it's not if somebody is watching this and he wants to fight Lethwei one day or just, learn kicking go to the face, go to the body, leg. It's going to take a while before you can do it. And again, I would go on the inside in the pocket and go elbows, punches, because where you can actually draw blood and cut. So my point is that that's different in style between, Muay Thai and Lethwei. It's a completely different mentality, completely different culture, different, smells, different, you're in Lethwei, you're fighting for the finish. You're fighting to inflict damage, not to potentially win on points or, stuff like that. So it's a very cool vibe. And it suited my style very well, because I was giving a lot of shit in Thailand when I was gaining my experience, right? I was giving a lot of shit because I wasn't adhering to the pace of Muay Thai. I didn't take any shit from them. I said, I don't like that. I want to stay, with my spinning attacks, so they didn't like that part of my Sanda style, my spinning stuff. So they didn't like it very much. And I was actually pulled out of a few fights for this. I was hated by the gamblers. So when I eventually got the chance to go fight Lethwei, it was like, it was like, let's
get
do
all
it.
your things in a row. Yeah. Just before we switch gears for a second, you said you can suplex guys. Can you grapple? You can't grapple per se, but you can take down, right?
Yeah. So you can do anything until you touch the ground. So you can body lock the back of the lower back, right? With my head on his chin. And then on the way down, I can headbutt him, and then I can drop a knee. A lot of times, like a lot of sneaky stuff, the best Lethwei fighters, they do like a sneaky headbutt on the way down. They drop their knee on their chest. I see a beautiful knockout on Lethwei World. I saw like a guy do a headbutt on the sternum. So on the way down, he landed his headbutt on the chest, and the guy was done. He was winded. They really have the mentality of it's a stand-up art. We the most permissive stand-up art. And we're a brotherhood. So as soon as you go down, I help you up, but then we continue fighting. You go down, I help you up, but we continue fighting. So it's basically, it's like I started saying, and it makes a lot of sense. It's the ultimate striking test. So I feel like if you want to be like, test yourself as a striker, well, don't go in fucking glory or kickboxing when you can't clinch, you can't do headbutts, you can't do elbows, you can barely do knees because it's a 5-second clinch with one hand, and you have big ass gloves. So really, are you the best striker you can be if you're good in striking and kickboxing? Well, you don't know, because you never tried with all the rules allowed, right? Same as Muay Thai. Like, if you're clinching and you're holding the biceps, well, you're not training for the headbutt. So really, are you the best striker you can be if you don't know how to do headbutts? You don't know how to protect them. So Lethwei, and that's why we're seeing a lot of guys. Over the years, we've got like Russian champion, Taekwondo champion, MMA guys, a bunch of guys from different disciplines coming over to test themselves. So it's you can do suplex, and I'm not a big. I don't do a lot of takedowns. I do sweeps, because takedowns, I feel like it's a gamble, and I use a lot of energy for this. And it's not a guarantee that I'm like, it's only good if I land him on his head and I can hurt him with this, right? Or I can drop a knee. So for me, I'd rather like go on stuff that I'm 100% confident, like in the clinch, headbutts, elbows. I'm confident about this. A lot of guys, like older generation, their game was they were throwing the guys like crazy, and that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I can imagine that energy becomes very important in those kind of rounds. As you said, cardio ends up being a key point with any fight, right? You mentioned you had some UFC fighters coming over. Is the UFC anything you've ever had your eye on? Is that something you would think of returning, even if it's just to MMA in another capacity? Or is this you'd like to just stay with this world now?
Well, right now I'm 28, and I said like I want to retire at like 35. I think that would be. I want to do as much as I can. I just lost a year with the fucking COVID bullshit, but like I think I'll be happy with this. I do have that little like sour taste of my because I went into MMA too fast in my development when I was younger. So I do want to like redeem myself for this. That's my ego. And again, ego is healthy is in fight. You need to have an ego in fighting. Otherwise you're not going to, I just lost. It's okay. You need to have ego. I love grappling. I do it every day. Like people think some people don't know it, but I love that. And I train wrestling every day almost with my coaches. And so I train because I train with my boys that are fighting MMA. So I love that. And I want to be the best training partner for them. So I do get a lot of offers. One was always talking about One Championship wants that as well. So it is a possibility. But the money has to be right because I'm very well taken care of in Lethwei. And I honestly, I do want to do more stuff in Lethwei. I want to fight more just because I enjoy it. Just because I want to. My goal, man, Doug, I want to buy a bigger land in Cyprus. I have a place there. I want a bigger land in Cyprus in the mountain in the Greek side. And I want to have a self-sustainable, my solar panels, I'm vegan now. So I want to have a beautiful greenhouse. And so I've been vegan for 6 months now.
Yeah. Can I just say, on the point of you being vegan, this is the longest conversation ever known to man without that coming up. If you are one, you managed 54 minutes. That's a record. That's very interesting though. That's very interesting. Yeah. So carry on. Yeah. So you want to
I want that self-sustainable place. So what did you say?
No, I was just I wanted you to elaborate.
So basically I want that because I feel like I feel like the society it's going to take a while before it changes, and a lot of things pisses me off about how schooling system is made, how society is made, how I was, everything is a bit fucked up. So I just want to be with my life partner, my wife. I want to be there and live have my cold bath because I want to do my cold therapy. Shout out to Wim Hof. I want to do my I want to have my sauna. So I just want to be isolated, and then I'll come out of my little compound here in Cyprus when for a seminar that I really want to do, a country that I really want to visit. But I want to grow old there from 35 to I want to live to over 100 years old with eating. I only eat organic, and my body's alkaline. I don't have any acidic food like meat. But anyway, that's another subject. Mm-hmm. But I'm very prone to this. So yeah, so that's my goal. So if I feel like I want to do it, I'm try to rationalize a lot my behavior as a man, because I believe we're only nurture what happens to us. My food preference, my taste and sexuality, like everything is nurture on what's been given to us. So I'm like, fuck, will redeeming myself in my MMA, will that make me even happier or not? Will it just be part of another like loop of a vicious circle of unhappiness, like buying. I'm a big believer. Like, look, my shirt is worth $3. Like, this watch was given to me by a friend. Like, I'm not a minimalist, but like, I just want to have everything that I need with my account full, and I'll be happy. Like, I don't have to show off. Like, when I was younger, I was a big believer. Like, I want to have a Rolls Royce. Well, it's only a couple $1,000 per month, to have a Rolls Royce. Like, I always ask my question, will I do something if there would be nobody on earth? That's the real, are you like, will I have this car if nobody will be on earth? No, because most people that want to have a car is to drop the windows, put some music on and show it off. So, and do I need my wife? Even recently, she's from Moldova, and and she always thought when she was younger, like, I want to have this big thing and big, because she was poor when she was growing up. Well, she said, I want to have a big walk-in closet. Well, now we have a walk-in closet, and it just has everything that she needs, a place for her shoes, a place for a few purses. But in her head, it was going to be as a fucking guest house before, when she was younger. But we rationalized, we don't need it anymore. Like, and again, I admit this is something that you realize once you actually achieve a certain success in your life. I admit that. But also, I can also admit that it's also very easy to go down the path of, well, it's never enough. And I think it takes a lot of maturity to like realize that, it's not going to make me happier. And there's a reason why a lot of guys have even more money, like Robin Williams, hanged himself, looked at the happiest guy in the world. A lot of singers are deep into cocaine. Like, it's very easy to go into a loophole of unhappiness. And I found my partner I want to live with. And that's my main focus, honestly. I love fighting. I really enjoy it. But I just enjoy being happy is more important to me. And so I'm happy right now fighting. I'll do it as long as I can. And but not for the bad reason. You know, I do it because I enjoy it, not because like I need to do it because it's gonna. I don't know. I don't know how to verbalize it.
No, I think firstly, to be your agent and to work that out about money is amazing. Naval Ravikant, who's an amazing angel investor who's made a lot of money, always makes the point. He says, I want everyone to make money just so they can realize it's not going to give them anything. Like he's like, that's his sole purpose. He's like, because what happens is we put onus on this thing. And I think your point about celebrities, I think what happens to them, this is just my opinion, and it may be totally wrong, but I feel like what happens is they go, oh, I will be happy when I have all those things, which is easy to keep hope going when you don't have the things. But if you get rich and famous enough, but when you're rich and famous and you get all this stuff and you're like, okay, now I have all of it and I'm still sad. What now? You're
exactly.
Like, you know, now the pressure's on, you know, at least when you didn't have it, you're like, at least I know why because I don't have the Rolls Royce. That's why I'm not happy. When you have it, you're like, man, I should have everything, you know, and the same with relationships. You can't build that stuff on money, you know. So it's amazing that you've come to that realization.
A lot of guys, there's a lot of people that are trust fund babies, like they're born into money, right? And there's a lot of suicide in these kind of people, and it just shows that, you know, you can have, you know, you know, I'm very happy. I have everything that I need with and I'm blessed. Not religiously blessed, but I'm just like, because I don't believe in religion, but like I would say, I'm blessed, like I'm happy, I'm grateful for this. But, you know, a lot of guys are, you know, they can have a shotgun to their mouth and they have like 20 zeros in their bank account. So, you know, it's not everything. I agree with you 100%. And I think we need to be happy with nothing, because when you go to Myanmar, or, you know, and I see these kids, and that's the biggest story. That's a big revelation for me. And I think that's part of my journey into realizing this. We went to a AIDS center with kids that have AIDS. They don't even know yet. They don't even know how to talk almost, and they have AIDS. Imagine. So the parents, they're also orphans. So their parents abandoned them because they can't take care of them, and also because they have AIDS, and so it's very sad. They're starting life already like five steps behind. But we went there with like chocolates to try to raise their spirits, you know. And at the time, it was it was on the ground, like it was a hut. Now we helped them a lot, and you know, I'm very happy that it's like a building now. They have actually a full, like, beautiful building that you can solid, you know, it's not a hut with anyway. We went there the first time, and we went like Kinder Surprises and chocolates, and there was like 40 kids. We had a Kinder Surprise and a few stuff for everybody, and this girl, she sees my wife. My wife doesn't have a Kinder Surprise, right? Because she's giving it all away. So she goes to her, she's like, do you want it? She had nothing. And you know, it makes me sad just to hear that. She literally has nothing. She's sleeping on the floor, like with water, like, because there's flooding. Like she doesn't even have clothes on her name. And she goes to my wife and she says, do you want my Kinder Surprise? Because you don't have it. You look like you don't have anything. So for me, that was a big realization of like, wow, I don't need the fucking car anymore. Like I'll you know, I just want to spread kindness around me, and that's my mission now. I just spread as much kindness as I can, and yeah, that's it. So yeah, actually, right, the card I have right now, it's given to me, it's free. So it's like a partnership, and yeah, I'm very happy with this. I don't, you know, it's a beautiful car, free. I'm very happy with this. I'm a very I'm only gonna spend with stuff that I can, that I need.
Well, hey, Dave, it's lovely to see how things have, you know, things have really come full circle. It's amazing that you got to follow your dream too. Dave, before we go any further, do you keep up with the UFC and fighters and other things?
Yeah.
Are you aware of the fights this weekend?
Yeah, I saw it. It was a change. I think the Masvidal, I like him. I actually, when I was in States, I went to Joe Rogan, right, and he gave me tickets to go. I was going to a seminar. So we was in LA, right, for the podcast. And then I said, I'm doing a seminar in New York next week. He's like, well, do you have tickets for the fight? I'm like, no. So he got me tickets, and it was pretty cool. Great seats. And I saw the BMF fight, you know, with Nate.
With Nate Diaz.
Yeah, Nate would have a fucking hard time in Lethwei, man. He would get cut up so fast and so bad.
Wow,
like, he has so much scar tissue in his face.
He can't help it. You know, he's tough as, but yeah, he's bleeding. He's forever bleeding.
But yeah, and then I was asked, I did an interview there, and somebody asked me like, who do you cheering for? So I actually said like, I like the guy, I like George because obviously he fought bare knuckle, so I have to count for him. He fought in the backyard. I think he would have loved Lethwei back a bit more when he was a bit younger. He would have done it for sure. So I think I cheer for him. So good for him for getting the fight. And I love my old training partners. Like Israel, Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
So Alex Rosnowski. Alex really happy when he won the belt. So I keep track with who I care about. So
as opposed to the industry person, not the industry, but the outfit per se. The people.
Do you?
Right. Yeah, I'm a big fan. But
Okay.
I'm a big fan of fighting. I actually found recently there's another bare knuckle boxing. I don't know what it's called. But it's just in a ring.
Yeah.
Like there's no ring. It's just like it's like a circle on the ground, and there's lines, and they can't go out. And there's some real like outlier fights. Your man who used to be training partner with McGregor, Lubov.
Lubov. Right?
He's gone to that. So watch that too. It's just interesting to watch different types,
BKFC, right?
It could be that, yeah.
Yeah, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Yeah, they're doing great. Yeah, they're
and like I like any outfit that I just like to watch different fighting styles,
Yeah. I saw a fight of them. It's really good, and I think a lot of guys would love if they have other tools, right? If they're not just boxers, they would love to go into Lethwei. I saw a fight. I love the blood out of it, so it's cool. But we're trying to WLC is trying to get into the U.S. market, right? So maybe getting to those states like Mississippi, Delaware, where it's legal to do these kind of fights, and that would be. That would be good. Yeah, they're doing good shows.
But before I let you go, I've got to ask you about the Joe Rogan. Like, what is that experience like? Because I've got to tell you, I fantasize about it. I fantasize about being on Joe Rogan. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I made it, Joe.
Yeah.
I made it.
Your place is fucking cool, man. I love his compound. He has a beautiful compound with, like he has a gym there. It's very well isolated, so you don't know where it is, so nobody can come uninvited, so it's really, really cool place. I actually told him like that's what it kind of gave me the idea to have like my own compound in Cyprus. I want that, and with a studio that I can do like some videos and some fighting techniques and stuff like that. Yeah, he was very welcoming, and it was cool to see the werewolf, the epic London werewolf fight, but I joke with him because it was when I was there, it was in October 2019, and it was the month that he does like the sober October. He was sober. So basically, I joke with him like he was not laughing at my jokes as much as he should have. And
I saw the John Jones cut between you and him cracking the same joke.
Yeah, because usually he smokes, and he's happy and ugly, and now he was a bit more serious. But we went into good stuff, and I'm happy because you've been talking about me a long time for like showing my clips of fighting, and Lethwei with Eddie Bravo was talking about it, and they had like a bunch of information wrong. They said that Lethwei's from Cambodia. They didn't know, so I had to come on and set things straight and explain the culture. It had to be done, and. He said he was going to be there for the first Lethwei show in the U.S. Since then, basically WLC we had the first Lethwei show live streamed on UFC Fight Pass. So like we spoke about, like you said you want to bring it to the world. Well, it's a traditional ancestral sport of 2,000 years old that is on the biggest modern platform of fighting. So think about that, how crazy the contrast it is. But I'm very proud of that, and I was like I helped a lot to make that happen because it was not easy, man. Like getting a live stream from Burma to a satellite. It was very hard. So we made it happen with the WLC. The next step is to get, and that's my focus. Like I will not be happy retiring without having fought on American soil. So that's obviously a big market, so I want to make that happen. And they know they can't do the show without me headlining it. So it's going to be, that's not even cocky. That's just the reality. So they can't sell it without me. So it's going to be good. But yeah, to answer your question, you said earlier, it's not going to be legal everywhere. I'm already at peace with that. It's going to be legal in a few very, open-minded countries. and that's perfect. It's gonna people are gonna find leagues and more leagues on a pop in Lethwei, right? There's a so they'll be able to train everywhere, and until then they'll be able to train it at my affiliated school. So
yeah,
that's the goal.
And how can they as a way to wrap this up, because I don't want to steal too much of your time. I know you're a busy man with fighting and all sorts. Where can people catch you, and what's the best place to find out what's going on, maybe about this retreat or about how?
Well, they can go on leduclethwei.com. So I have everything there. Leduclethwei.com is going to transform it also into an academy soon. So I'm filming all my techniques, my curriculum. It's going to be an academy, like you can actually rank up in my system. So everything about it's never been done in Lethwei. So very excited about this, and everything is on from there. They can go on the Leduc shop, which is all the gear, the fucking cool Lethwei gear. We just popped a new one. You would like? I'll send you one. It's when in doubt, headbutt. So when you're in doubt, you fucking headbutt. Yeah, the rest is that. You can follow me on Instagram, King Leduc, and we don't take ourselves too seriously. Like I think life is too short. Like we don't know when we're gonna die. We're all gonna die. So I really think we shouldn't take life too seriously. Nothing matters apart from while we're living though. What matters is to have good vibes, and so I'm happy to do yoga because yoga I try to do it as much as I can. I love it, man. It's helping me with my flexibility, and I feel like it also helps with positivity. So I'm big on that right now. Like kindness is key to everything. How long you been doing yoga?
So for me, like 10 years now, probably.
Okay.
But
okay, so you're not a beginner like me.
No, well, I mean, we're all beginners. That's what's nice about, Joe Rogan actually mentioned once before. He said, yoga is that martial art you do against yourself. Like there's this idea that you're always a beginner. There's always something to learn. You're never, even when you're the champion, it's only relative. Champ is only relative to who the next best guy is. But you could still even be even better, True. So it's this forever, this curriculum. That's why martial arts and yoga for me is amazing, because the curriculum is infinite and we are finite. So I want to be part of something infinite. And it reminds me that there's things that go on long beyond me. So that's a nice, humbling situation to be in.
Well, by the way, on the retreat, if you do come in every day, there's yoga in the morning on the beach. That's part of my goals. So I already have the team. It's the team that does all the the yoga and the Yangon yoga and all these things. So they have I'm gonna have yoga in the morning, so it's gonna be pretty cool.
Man, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. You sound like you're doing such good stuff, and I just want to reiterate, Leduc said you got to do yoga. All right, let that be the soundbite to take.
Definitely. Right. And especially for neck flexibility, I'm a big proponent of having a strong neck, and strong also, like probably admit like stiff is not good, right? We have to be strong, but also flexible and able to adapt to everything. So I'm big. The big step of my career, my journey right now, martial art, is to be more flexible and more evasive and all these things. So yoga is great. Yeah, I stretch a lot.
There's a great thing, which is we learn to bend so we don't break.
Oh, I like that. I like that. That's a good. I never heard that one. I like that.
You can have that, man. That's not a gift.
I'll let you on a quote, and that side note. But I'm big existential. You probably heard me when we spoke about today. So this is about life. Like two things. You have two choices. Okay, you have to choose either or. First one, you have to kill an innocent person. Okay. But as soon as you kill that person, you forget and you live the rest of your life like you never happened. But you had at the time, before your mind got erased, you had to kill. So you're conscious in that moment, you kill somebody, an innocent person. The other choice is you do not kill a person. But as soon as you make a decision, after that, for the rest of your life, you will think that you did.
Yeah.
And you will have to live with the images and the pain of having killed an innocent person. So what's your choice?
Wow. I mean, from the yogic standpoint, it's the easy one, right? But that's some Black Mirror stuff, which I love. But I would have thought you're asking, the question you're asking really is your experience more important than your action, And are there far-reaching
there's a conclusion to that?
To me, it's got to be that you've got to live with the memories, because there's redemption in accepting what you've done, even if you were wrong about it.
And you don't know about it.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. But if you don't even remember you did it, there's no redemption, because you can never make atonement, which is at one. You know, I would say
so you wouldn't do it, but then you would actually make peace with the fact that you did it.
Yeah.
Mentally over. I never heard that, and that's a very good one. That's actually the selfless answer. My that means you're a very selfless man, because my conclusion with this is that there's no such thing as selfless things. You know, everything that we do, doing a podcast, giving to charity. There's, in a way, it all comes back to us in a positive. We're getting something out of it, either like a good feeling or it's good. So meaning that even Mother Teresa wasn't very selfless, because she was getting something good out of it. She had like a feeling of peace inside of her. So selfless is very rare, and the selfless answer, because everybody that asked that question was, I would kill, because I don't want to. I value my pleasure, my being more, right? They value, and it's okay. Like we're selfish beings, and most of the time we value our happiness. So yeah, it would be. And the selfless answer is, I wouldn't kill, but I would suffer for the rest of my life. So that's the selfless answer. I'm very surprised you said that, and I'm very impressed.
Oh man, well thank you. Yeah, I mean the yoga scripts are quite clear. It's like the whole idea is we're all connected anyway. So me killing that person, even if I don't remember, I've brought the world down. Whereas if I didn't do it, but I feel bad, the world's come down a little bit because I feel bad, but you know, I haven't done, the sin is definitely bigger, you know.
True.
At least, but I love those kind of questions, man.
Yeah, the hard part is that, the hard part is that we have to, like, when we, like, the killing part is that you have to do it at the moment, so you're conscious for that moment. That, again, we're just talking
it's a thought experiment,
but it's it's a good question. I like this one.
Yeah, these are great, man. You would love Philosophize This, which is a great podcast.
Okay,
so get yourself onto that. Like, it takes you through like philosophy 101, like through all of the different philosophers, in a very chilled out way, like in a very matter of fact, like, you know, like when Beyonce does this, like very pop culture philosophy.
Very good. One guy that I study a lot, and I love the way he talks, is Matt Dillahunty. He's an American guy based in Texas, and he does the Atheist podcast, but he talks mostly about reasoning, like the reasoning, like having a skeptical mind, and just being like basically scientific reasoning and stuff. So it's very interesting, like that part, and you know, without the religion part is just very, like, I feel like something I will teach to my kids, and I wish I was taught when I was younger. That's part of my rebellion to the schooling system. I wish I was taught how to think, and how to be like skeptical, you know, not accept everything that's told by the government or by me. Like, not everybody's, not because somebody's in a position of authority that they're automatically right. You know, and that's sad that we're taught I was taught how to fucking cook, and how to sew, but not how to think, you know, how to reason, and I'll be rational. Like, how many, it's pissing me off.
It doesn't come naturally. Yeah, like I think they call it the Socratic method, where you throw an idea around and you discuss it using your words and your thought pattern, and you're allowed to unpack it. But this is why long form conversation is important. And what we're getting now, unfortunately, in society is people are scared to say, they're scared of certain subjects. Forget what they have to say about it. They just scared of the whole subject matter and go, I'm not touching that, for fear of what, and then you never get to get through your own thought process, you know? So, and science is based on critical analysis of things, on building blocks, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, something like religion struggles, because it is how it is. That's just how it is. And it can't then build.
And that's a big loophole. That's a big, But I was going to say, I have to say, from when I saw you 6 years ago, I don't know if you realize it, but I really see that you're also very calm. I don't know if you know, there's a change that happened in the last 6 years, but you're incredibly poised.
And you know what, I've been hearing that more. Yeah, I think it is, man. Which, you know, it's not my default, as you know. Like, I used to be very excitable all the time, you know. for good or for bad. But certainly in Thailand, I was like, let's go. You know, I grew up.
You were a ball of energy, man, and now you choose where you put your energy. I like that. So good for you, man.
Man, I mean, that's exactly it. You know, there's a lot of people have been reading books during this lockdown time, and there's a great book called A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and his whole point is was between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies a choice, and in that choice is our freedom. So in any situation, we're not victims just to things that are going on. So anything that happens, you have this moment between the stimulus and then when you want to respond, where you can choose how you're going to respond. It doesn't always have to be the same thing, you know, and we fall into patterns as humans, and we can break that cycle if we can just give ourselves that space. And when they say about yoga being stretching, yeah, you're stretching to make space, but you're also making space in your mind to go, okay, do I want to do this? Is this the best choice?
Yeah, we're not questioning anymore. People are not questioning anything. We're just doing it like robots, and that's kind of the reason why I want to do my journey alone with my wife and my little compound. You'll be welcome to come. I will have a guest house.
I love Cyprus too.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you chose that. Well, Dave, my man, I'm gonna let you go. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you and catch up. I don't want it to be another 6 years, because I think by then you'll be king of the world, and then I won't be able to get in touch with you at all.
We'll have to do this before 6 years. Another one, but before 6 years.
You know it, man. You know it, my man.
And good luck. Good luck for your next gig in the next movie. Good luck for that, and you're gonna kill it like usual. Thanks
so much, Dave. Take it easy, man. Thank you so much for being down with
us. And I'll do my part in the ring when I finally get another fight soon. So it's gonna happen soon.
I want to see it myself, my man. All right.
Take care, guys.
Take it easy, man.